Meeting of the Common Council for Tuesday, December 7th, 2021. Clerk?
Thank you, Your Honor. We have 12 voting and civic clerk and 12 alders present in the meeting.
Very good, thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for an invocation led by Alder Brian Johnson. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We could have a seat, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. I decided to do something a little bit different. As a body, we are oftentimes faced with difficult decisions and compromising decisions and decisions sometimes that take us down different roads. And one of the things that I think is always interesting is learning new and unique things about each of our fellow alders on here. And one of the things that I am particularly passionate about and motivated about is I love to read literature and poetry. And so with that, I'd like to read one of my favorite poems by Robert Frost, which I'm sure many, if not most of you, have heard before. But I'd like you to listen to this with a different perspective, and that perspective being that with which we make decisions and how we make those decisions and how we interact with one another as a body. The poem is The Road Not Taken, again by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that passing there had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, and leaves no step had trotted black. I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alder, for sharing that. On to approval of the minutes. Motion made to approve the minutes from our previous meeting. That was made by Alder Dorf, seconded by Alder Corpus Dax. Any changes there? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The minutes have been approved. Approval of the agenda. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Stevens. Any changes? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The agenda has been approved. Report by the mayor. A couple of things that I want to touch on from our agenda this evening. First one, sort of a little bit of housekeeping for the year ahead. You'll see the committee and council schedule has been attached in our packet to my report. So just wanted to flag that for you all as well as members of the public. Sort of similar to our schedule this past year. We do take a break in July, but dissimilar to years past, we're not taking a large break or just having the one meeting a month throughout our summer months. So sticking to what we did this year. A few other differences in there, but just wanted to flag that for you all so that you can plan for the year ahead. Also, some comments largely focused on a busy agenda of our Finance Committee. There's a lot of good stuff on that agenda, I think, tonight for your debate and hopefully approval. First one that I want to touch on is our American Rescue Plan Act framework, $23.7 million that's been allocated to the city of Green Bay from our federal government. We've had a lot of, I think, robust discussion about that in the community and here on our council, or at our committee meetings rather. Some changes made at the committee level, which I'm in favor of. I'm sure we'll have some more discussion tonight, but I think this is really the opportunity for us to move forward with that framework, which really enables alders and city staff and my office to work on those details and get that money out into our community as rapidly as possible. So asking for your approval on that tonight. In addition, we have something called Priority-Based Budgeting, offered by Resource X. That's also on our Finance Committee agenda. I think had a really nice discussion at the committee level. There's a lot, I think, to like about this platform or this software. To me, though, the real advantage, several advantages, but one of the biggest advantages in my mind is the fact that it makes a municipal budget more digestible for me as mayor, for you, I think as council members, for our public. It builds on top of a line item budget, which will always be the way that we technically put these documents together. But it reinforces the fact that these are programs and services that we're providing to the public, and it allows for us to take a look at those programs and put priorities on them. So again, I just think it makes it much more user-friendly to all of us who are involved in crafting that document. So seeking your approval on that item. And then finally, just wanted to touch on the branding initiative. I know that's generated a lot of discussion among alders and in the community. I want to emphasize that this is about a lot more than a logo. This is offering us as a city and our residents the opportunity to think seriously about this community, what we've been in the future, who we are today, what we hope for, rather what we've been in the past, what we are today, and what we're hoping to see in the future. Things have changed pretty dramatically since the last time we've had this discussion in the community, going on nearly 20 years, since we've taken a hard look at how we present ourselves, both within the community and to the world at large. Again, I think we'll have some good discussion and maybe some alteration on the time schedule for this work, but ultimately hoping that we'll be able to move forward with that. So having said all of that, we will move along to our announcements from alders.
May I ask a question?
Alder Dorf, go ahead.
I just noticed, I don't know if it's a mistake or not, but February 16th is listed as a meeting, and it's a Wednesday evening. Is that correct?
Clerk Jeffries?
Yes, Alder Dorf, that is correct. A lot of times during the February primary, instead of changing the meeting, not having one in February, I decided that we could do the meeting the next day on a Wednesday.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Thanks, Clerk. All right, with that, we'll move along to announcements. Any announcements from our council? Alder Lefebvre.
I'll bring it up now instead of pulling it. I saw in the newspaper, I missed the discussion on the branding of our logo and that. And I just want to say, I think our logo that we had was a good one. I didn't like some of the comments. I thought, oh, come on. I like ours. I think it's very different from any that I've seen. And I'm sorry, the examples they gave weren't very good. I didn't understand the peers at all. And the other community could have been anybody.
Alder,
So I
just
think we have to.
Just to hold your comments, I mean, we are going to be discussing that item
Yeah.
later in the agenda, so.
So you want me to pull it then, or?
Yeah, we'll definitely be talking about it
Okay.
at that point.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Alder. Any other announcements? All right, we will move along to appointments. I'll entertain a motion on new appointments. Motion has been made to approve the new appointments. That was made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Gerlach. Any discussion? Yeah, Alder Johnson.
If I could just, I presume I need to abstain on the appointment of myself, but also of Garrett Bader. He's a member of my executive committee.
So noted. Thanks, Alder.
Do I need to abstain on the appointment of myself and the appointment of my husband to another commission? A different commission?
Certainly can if you want to.
I mean, do I have to?
I can't answer that
You
for you.
can't. Legal? Legal?
Law Department, any advice?
Well, then I won't abstain.
Okay. Very well. Noting that abstention, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Entertain a motion on reappointments. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Lefebvre. Any discussion?
Mayor,
Yes.
there's going to be a broken record tonight.
That's all right.
So I'm actually providing clarification. This was legal advice provided to me in the past. I am not abstaining from the On-Broadway Business Improvement District Board because I do not report to them.
Okay.
I report to the nonprofit organization.
Very well.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Seeing no other comments, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Those reappointments are made. On to public hearings. We have a public hearing on the request to authorize a conditional use permit at 1004 Brett Favre Pass. Is there anyone here or online who would like to speak to this item? Is there anyone here who would like to speak to this item? Anyone here who would like to speak to this item? Seeing none, I'll let the record reflect that no one is here to speak on that item. On to ordinances, second reading for adoption.
Motion to suspend the rules.
1 second.
Yes, I represent the Legacy Project.
Yep.
And we were told that David Buck was presenting to the commission.
Yeah, so we have a legal requirement to hold a public hearing, but it's customary for us to open the floor when guests are present to comment, and we can certainly do that at the appropriate time.
Thank you.
All right, under ordinances, second reading for adoption. There's been a motion made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Gerlach, to suspend the rules and take up these items with one roll call vote. Alder Corpus Dax?
I need to pull number 2.
I'm sorry.
Need to pull number 2.
With the exception of item 2. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Entertain a motion. Motion to adopt made by Alder Scannell. Seconded by Alder Gerlach. And we will use the board. And that's on items 1, 3, 4, 5.
Thank you, Alders. I have started the vote. Alder Stoyer?
Alder Stoyer votes aye.
Thank you. All right, and here is your displayed vote. Just give me one moment.
And those are approved 12-0. Item 2 is pulled by Alder Corpus Dax. Motion to adopt made by Alder Scannell. Seconded by Alder Gerlach. Alder Corpus Dax.
Thank you, Mayor. I just need to make an amendment to section 3 under D, number 1, number B, where it reads, all semi-public roads shall be no less than 50 feet in width. Amend that to, all semi-public roads shall be no less than 30 feet in width.
Right. Is there a second for that amendment? Seconded by Alder Gerlach. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Mayor, excuse me, don't we have to use the board on this?
This
Oh, I'm
is-
sorry, the amendment. Forgive me.
Correct. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion to adopt as amended made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Stevens. And here we will use the board.
Thank you, Alders. You may vote.
Alder Stoyer votes aye.
Thank you. All right, and thank you very much. Here is your displayed vote.
That passes 11-0 with one abstention. On to the report of the Finance Committee.
Second.
Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Corpus Dax. Any items here to be handled separately? Number 2. Any others? Hearing no others, all in favor of adopting the report with the exception of item 2, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That report has been adopted with the exception of item 2. that item, or what are your wishes on item 2?
Second.
Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Corpus Dax. The item was pulled by Alder LaFave. Alder, you have the floor.
Sorry, so saying, I do like our logo, but whatever comes up, I hope they can come up with a better one. I don't know. I just didn't like some of the comments saying that people didn't understand it. I can understand exactly. I live right by Bay Beach. I understand that's a cupola. And I think there's a lot of visitors that they know it's there. I don't know how we can improve on it, but if we can, that's fine. But I just wanted to let everyone know that I'm sorry, the examples they gave weren't very well defined, I don't think. That's my comments.
Okay. Thanks, Alder. Alder Johnson?
Thank you, Mayor. I think I would just maybe take a moment again to reiterate that this isn't a logo redesign. This is a branding initiative. And they're two very, very, very different things. And so I do think that's been one of the biggest misconceptions of the proposal. And I think that there's a lot of opportunity here yet to engage the public in perhaps engage some other key stakeholders. And I talked about this at the Finance Committee, that I would love to see the opportunity for us to have some additional meaningful dialogue with the Chamber, with Discover Green Bay, to understand each of our respective strengths and weaknesses in how we promote our city. I think that there is a changing marketplace right now. You know, the one thing though that I would also mention is that I don't necessarily feel compelled to rush to a decision just yet. There are a lot of priorities in the city of Green Bay, and certainly to many this is one, and to others there are different things, and I want us to have an ample opportunity to discuss that. And so with that, after having some conversations with staff, I do think that there's a real opportunity here for us to better understand from experts in the field who do this, companies that would potentially bid on this project, to really explain to us the value and meaning behind a branding initiative, not a logo, a branding initiative, and what it means for the city of Green Bay, and specifically what it's meant to accomplish that currently we are not accomplishing on our own. And I think we can do this without encumbering the funds, because I do believe that that is, you know, one of the concerns that some folks have, including myself. And so with that, I would actually offer a motion to seek the RFP, but hold the resolution. And the purpose of that is that without the resolution, we can't spend the money, but it does allow us to conduct an RFP, get more tangible quotes on what it would cost, not only for the first phase, which is the design, but the second phase, which would be the implementation. So that is my motion, Mayor.
The motion has been made by Alder Johnson to move forward with the RFP, but to hold the resolution. That was seconded by Alder Dorff. I think that was very well said. Other comments from the council? Alder Galvin, then Alder Vanderleest, then Alder Weary.
Thank you, Your Honor. I've been doing some reading on this because I've also seen on social media especially a lot of comments about this. And I started doing some research. The Harvard Business School has done some studies on this. And it, to me, based on what I'm reading, I'm certainly no expert on logos and branding. I mean, I like Coca-Cola and I don't like Pepsi. But other than that, I think Green Bay.
Let's keep things civil, Alder Galvin.
Right. So I think Green Bay can do a better job of putting on the open sign. And the only way we're going to have a good chance of controlling taxes is by expanding and growing, and I think we need to do a better job of that. The costs in that are of concern to me also, and so I'm hoping we can get a better presentation from staff and from outside sources to better explain this and help us do a better job of making up our minds, and also to explain it to the public. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. I do just want to thank staff, though, for the time that they spent to put together this presentation. It's something that's been, you know, discussed internally for some time, and given, you know, the obligations and responsibilities that staff have, for them to step up, and especially Matt Buchanan, Steph Hummel, and Laura Schley to present that information to council is much appreciated by me anyway, but.
I'm certainly not taking away from that, but I mean, based on the input we're getting back, I didn't have the answers, and I think those answers are out there. And so that's why I just think, given some more time, they'll be able to put more information together and give us a real good presentation. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alder Vanderleest, Alder Weary, Alder Stroyer.
My question is that, where's the funding going to come from if we move forward with this?
Yeah, that's a good question. It was asked at the Finance Committee, actually by Alder Dorf to the administration. And just so everybody knows, including, council and the public, these are, unused revenue that came in as a result of the agreement with the United Nations, our cooperative governance agreement, that came in 2021. Because of the nature of that new agreement, there wasn't necessarily they weren't directed to a specific purpose, and so we wanted to wait until the end of the year to make sure that we ended things in the black, recognizing that we do expect to have this surplus. These funds are available, and that's why they were designated for this purpose.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Thanks, Alder Weary.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Obviously, right now, I think others have mentioned, it's not a popular idea in the public, certainly not. And maybe it's just they don't have enough information, but I can tell you it's not popular. Everybody's asking, is it really necessary? And I think that'll be the goal here, is to make that case. I personally don't see that it's necessary right now, but I can be convinced. I'd like to see what are the goals, what are some measurable expectations of this. This shouldn't be spending $100,000 or $200,000, because it'll cost more than $100,000. I mean, it's going to. Putting that much money into something should not be just a feel-good endeavor. It really needs to have some tangible expectations, and so I'll be looking for that. If those don't appear, I won't be sold on it, and most people won't. Thanks.
Thanks, Alder. Alder Brunette.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I do have a question for staff. How much time would it take for staff to create and promote and get a RFP for this proposal?
Yeah, we'll go to Director Steck Schulte on that question.
Yeah, honestly, I think, Alder, there's probably the best way would be to certainly not reinvent the wheel. There's been other communities who've certainly gone through this, so we probably take a matter of, I'd say, an hour or two just to collect send some emails to some other communities we know have done this, and actually glean from their RFP and probably put something together based on one that we feel matches some of the objectives that we're looking for out of this. So it should be minimal. I would say a minimal time investment.
Director Schulte, how much time would you say, as a composite, did city staff spend on the presentation up until this point?
I'm going to glance over at Mr. Buchanan, probably 2 or 3 hours, I believe.
So the presentation that was shared at the Finance Committee only took a few hours to prepare?
That's correct.
When was this idea thought of and began?
I think we're really within just the last few weeks is when we've been, certainly coordinating with the mayor's office in terms of pursuing and taking a look at whether or not this was something we could pursue. So really in the last couple of weeks. And we've had discussions on it it would be something we need to do, kind of discussion in terms of other economic development marketing discussions and in terms of other team meetings and so forth. But in terms of an actual endeavor, trying to move something forward, really just been in the last few weeks.
Director, I think one of the ideas presented for why a branding initiative is important is to attract businesses, employees, people in general to the city. It was proposed from the economic development in your department primarily, or entirely perhaps. Any conversations or concerns that developers and businesses have in regards to our tax rate in relocating or opening in Green Bay?
I think in terms of what we certainly heard that's always a concern, Alder, absolutely. In terms of, that's one aspect of it. Certainly the quality of our infrastructure is another topic that comes up. Certainly our responsiveness to actually getting approvals done are probably the top 3 things that we would hear of being an area of concern.
Okay, all right, thank you. No question for city staff, but what I'll say is, and I don't want to put words in director's mouth because he basically answered it, that branding alone isn't an issue that Green Bay is facing as a challenge to attract. It's a tax rate, it's infrastructure. We basically have $100,000 well, I don't want to say unexpected because we were expecting the revenue at some point, perhaps not this year, but it's not free money in that the cooperative governance agreement with Oneida was under the condition that we would allow certain parcels of land to go into tax exempt trust immediately. And there were like 12 to 14 properties that the city had been objecting to placing into trust or allowing the tribe to put into trust that will immediately no longer be on the tax rolls. So the city taxes on those 12 to 14 parcels, if I recall, was about $30,000 or $40,000. So the $100,000 that we're looking to spend on this branding initiative really lost tax revenue on those parcels of land which are now in trust. So if we're going to spend $100,000 and we're looking at it from an economic development and attracting employers, businesses, we ought to put that $100,000 towards infrastructure improvements, or we ought to put that $100,000 into paying down debt, or $100,000 towards violence prevention or crime prevention, or paying down some of our other finances, because the tax rate is an issue when companies are coming to Green Bay or thinking of coming to Green Bay. Our tax rate's $9.82 per thousand of property, and neighboring municipalities are in the $4 to $5, $6 range. There is a huge issue Green Bay has going forward. In the last 3 years, our tax rate went from $9.16 to $9.82. So really, that is the main issue we're having in attracting developers, not an outdated brand or a brand that's not known. I love municipalities. I love history. I love looking into what other communities do. And I'm on, the internet, Wikipedia, other city Facebook pages all the time because I'm curious about how other cities do things. Probably been on 50 to 100 municipal pages all throughout Wisconsin and the United States in the last year or two, easily. I don't remember a single logo or a single brand of any city. We have the Packers, that's our brand. We're not running from it. We're many things more than the Packers, but to spend $100,000 on this initiative, or even to get the estimate, I think right now is very premature. We ought to have discussed this perhaps at the budget, gone through the normal process. If this is something worth pursuing, then it should be presented at the budget year in November or next November. So I'm against it. I'm not this lukewarm, let's extend it. City staff ought not to spend another rebranding when we got other very significant issues this city needs to be dealing with that we could allocate that $100,000 towards. So I'm against the motion as it stands. Thank you.
Thanks, Al. Just a point of clarification, that the most recent discussion on our budget was for the 2022 budget. So there's really no opportunity to discuss unallocated funds such as this, other than.
I'm aware. I don't think you needed to make that correction, Mayor. I'm aware of that.
It didn't seem like it. Any other questions?
Hey, point of order. That is uncalled for, Mayor. You don't need to take that cheap shot.
All right, thanks, Alder. Alder Gerlach.
Wasn't Alder Steuer waiting to speak next?
Oh, yep, my apologies. Alder Steuer and then Alder Gerlach.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, since I've lived in Green Bay since 1981, we've had two different logos or branding techniques, if you will. And, there are certain communities that every couple of years they'll go out and do something new to refresh. I've seen some of the new logos and that are out there from surrounding communities, and a lot of times you take a look and you go, wow, that's really nice, or you might go, interesting. Who decided to do that? So, I'm a consumer. I see things out there that I like. Like I said, my hometown in Milwaukee had one a few years back called Milwaukee American Genuine Made, and it was a button, look, manufacturing. It captured everything. Is there something like that for Green Bay? Like something that for a fact it's there. I know we talk about the Packers, that's very important, but we're more than just that. So I think it's important that we look at that, and I agree with Alder Johnson that, let's hold off a little bit. I think it's important that we look at this, but I'd like to see some more detail as well. So I'm gonna hold off as well. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Alder. Alder Gerlach.
I will have a question for Director Ellenbecker, but I just want to, and I will be brief, I just want to say, as I said at the Finance Committee, that I'm biased. This is what I do for a living, branding and rebranding. I just conducted a major rebrand for a local nonprofit that's been here in Green Bay for over 30 years. This is what I live and breathe every day. And when I moved back to Green Bay 3 years ago, I said to myself, oh my gosh, we've got to do some rebranding here. And again, I know perhaps people are tired of hearing this, but it might be worth saying again. I have lived all over the United States. I have lived in 25 different communities and neighborhoods in my adult life. There is so much in Green Bay that is so unique and so wonderful, and we're just not promoting it as we could. And so my question for Director Ellenbecker is, do these funds have to be spent by a certain time?
It is not, at this point, we would not be required to allocate the dollars. We really could wait until into the beginning of next year to say whether or not there is going to be a surplus, and then we can make a budget amendment early into next year
Okay, thank you.
to set the money aside.
I definitely support this. But I support slowing down, and let's take our time and let's do it well.
Thanks, Alder. Alder Dorf.
Thank you, Mayor. I definitely support Alder Johnson's motion, particularly because it was presented in social media that so many misconceptions were presented, and really the whole idea of rebranding wasn't what was coming out. It was just merely changing a logo. We had a great presentation at the Finance Committee. I so appreciated what staff did. They gave great explanations, in particular the one about the way the colors kind of fade from a dark green to a light green, and how hard that is in printing, and how that it costs more to print something like that. I mean, there were some good economic reasons to also change that logo. But I really like this idea right now of taking a step back and getting accurate and truthful information out there, explaining to the public what really is behind this. And it's not just about having a contest to design a pretty logo. It's about rebranding Green Bay and making us more attractive to tourism, to businesses, keeping our millennials, lots of things we can do. So I'm definitely in support of Alder Johnson's motion. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Alder LaFave.
Yes, I want to say too, I'm glad, let's slow down a little bit, and the motion is great. I'll support it. And I just wanted to bring up too that putting it out for an RFP, finding out the cost, but also making sure that we get enough people interested in designing this, because I remember with our neighborhood associations, we had someone was making these signs for all of our neighborhoods. And when we got ours, it didn't make sense. So we went out to NWTC and UWGB, and someone came up with a really nice sign for our neighborhood. It was very unique. We have the pelican, and it's something nobody else, well, De Pere has some pelicans, but no one else has a pelican. So we had ours redesigned, and I think that's important. We've got to make sure that you have enough people putting their input in so that we end up getting a good representation. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Alder Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one more thing. For those who have ever had an opportunity to extensively travel, there's a state that does branding really, really well, and that is the state of Colorado. And I guarantee if you've ever visited there, and quite frankly have seen any of their gear, their swag, you would recognize their brand and their identity very quickly. I think Alder Weary brings up some very interesting points. And so even if you have a good brand, how does that translate into value for taxpayers? And I think that's, what we do for Coca-Cola versus taxpayers is two very different things. And I do think that is a legitimate conversation that we need to have yet. And why I do favor the slower process. But I at least wanted to point out an example of a government entity that does it really well. By contrast, I'm going to point out two examples that don't do it very well. The state of Wisconsin, when we had an opportunity to provide the quarter design, we didn't know what we wanted to do with it, so we put a cow head, a stalk of corn, and a block of cheese. And that is now Wisconsin's brand. And what does that do for the state? I'm not sure, but it was an attempt to be inclusive with, these are the things that are important to our economy, so we're going to throw them on the back of a quarter. And secondly, and this is my takeaway item before we would, assuming that we were going to conduct a vote here soon, everybody in this room, everybody on the Zoom call who's paying attention to this issue, and I know there are many people, please, please, please take an opportunity to go to YouTube and search why city flags may be the worst designed thing you've ever seen. And the city of Milwaukee has been consistently ranked as having the worst flag designs in America. And I want you to watch this TED Talk because it is hands down one of the best TED Talks I've ever seen that talks about the importance of a brand and what it does and why it matters. But I do think, again, that giving ourselves a little bit of an opportunity to do this RFP and to hear a little bit more from experts and understand the key metrics and takeaway, I think that there's value in not being impulsive and saying no and having an opportunity to learn more before we cast our final votes. But please watch that YouTube video. You will not regret it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Alder. All right, seeing that,
A comment, Mayor.
go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I respect you all in your positions and representing your constituents, but given how, quick this idea came out and how, some media coverage, I think tonight the council, in my opinion, is really stuck within its own echo chamber. I think you all are, and I mean this with respect, I know it's going to sound disrespectful. You all are talking amongst yourselves, trying to find a way to justify spending or looking to get a quote to spend $100,000 that up until a few weeks ago, even we had this registered on their radar. If you take, you go door to door, you talk to people, the average person, list the top, if we had $100,000 in the city of Green Bay to spend on an issue, what would be your top 10 or even 20 things the city of Green Bay should spend that money? Branding initiative would not crack the top 10 or 20. We have gunshots that are reverberating all throughout our city. There's an increase in that. And this city council and our leadership have spoken more about branding initiatives here in the city of Green Bay City Council meeting than the collective leadership has talked about the real issue on the minds of the public. $100,000 is a lot of money. And maybe I'm a little more sensitive to spending that, not a big need right now. And that is because I represent an area within the city of Green Bay that is in partnership with the Oneida Nation. And Oneida, contributed that money through the cooperative governance agreement. And I think that it could go to improve the community in much more beneficial ways than a branding initiative. This was not even on the radar. We could spend $100,000 to reduce debt. We could spend $100,000 to hire an additional police officer or civilian crime prevention specialist. We could give our city employees a bonus perhaps, or we could just keep the money in a contingency fund to prevent us from, falling into budget issues a year from now. Will transpire between now and then. So I say this with respect. You all are trying to justify spending this, trying to kind of convince each other that this is something that the public wants. And if you look at the comments on social media, the stories, and I know some of us think maybe the llama is sort of a frivolous thing, but when you have 200 people responding to a question and only 15 would be in favor of spending up to $100,000 on this initiative, I think you're really out of touch. And I don't know how to say that without being disrespectful, but I just said it. Please vote this down. This is something worth pursuing. We should go through the proper channels and entertain it in different ways. Thank you.
Alder Dorf and then Alder Scannell.
I didn't think the motion, I thought your motion was that we were going to
Move forward with the RFP.
move forward with the RFP and then decide later, that's why hold the resolution. We're not voting on spending the money.
Correct.
Am I right?
That's correct.
Oh, okay, so that's what I heard when I was listening. So we're not voting on spending the money. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alder. Alder Scannell.
Well, that was the point I was going to make. We're not spending anything right now. And with all respect to the alders that are, everyone's alders here, all the alders, all my fellow alders, all my respect to you. But I think it's disingenuous, some of the comments that have been made. We are not competing with the villages around us. We are competing with cities our same size. That's who you need to compare us to. Cities our size also are surrounded by municipalities who have lower tax rates, but they also have fewer services. What we're competing with is cities our size and people and businesses looking for a city, not a village to move into, a city to move into, and we need to market ourselves to get their attention and get them to move here. If you're not growing, you're dying, and marketing is part of growing. So I fully support this now. I'll probably fully support it later. I believe marketing is an important part, and that's something we can do. We can walk and chew gum and market at the same time. All these other things have been brought up. I didn't spend a lot of time on social media, but I saw stuff about, roads. Well, part of that is educating the public. None of this, our levy goes to roads. We bond and we wheel tax. That's our road money. So we need to do some educating, even with maybe some alders. So, thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, Alder. Alder Gerlach.
Briefly, I just want to be clear that although I was surprised when I saw this on the agenda for the Finance Committee meeting, I was pleasantly surprised. And no, this isn't something that just popped into my head. This is something I have been thinking of and talking to some staff members about for 3 years. I firmly believe the city of Green Bay needs to do this.
Thanks, Alder. And on that point, I mean, this is the process, right? This is how this body discusses different questions, is by bringing, alders bring items to committees. I, as mayor, and our administration have the ability to bring items to committees. That's where we have the discussion. I think it's been a good one, and we've arrived tonight with, I think, something that is a workable motion that's been offered. It has a second. So with that, all in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. There has been a request to use the board by Alder Weary, and we will do so. So this is the motion by Alder Johnson, seconded by Alder Dorf, to direct staff to move forward with the RFP process while at the same time holding the resolution which would expend or potentially expend these resources.
Thank you, Alders. You may vote. And, all right, thank you. And here's your displayed vote.
And that is approved 9-3. And just as a point of clarification as well, we did, as a council, agree to allocate $23.7 million to a whole host of needs that were noted by certain alders tonight. So thanks for your support there. On to the report of the Plan Commission. Motion to approve made by Alder Corpus Dax, seconded by Alder Galvin. Any items here to be handled separately?
11.
11. Any others?
Extension on number 4, Mayor.
Noted. Alder Johnson would like to abstain from voting on item 4.
Mayor, I just want to be abstaining on item 11. I don't need to have a separate discussion.
Okay, noted, Alder. Thank you. Okay. Item 12. So right now we just have item 12 being held separately. Any others? Hearing none others, all in favor of approving the remainder of that report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The report has been approved with the exception of item 12. Your wishes?
Motion approved. Second.
Motion to approve made by Alder Corpus Dax, seconded by Alder Gerlach. That was pulled by Alder Corpus Dax.
Yeah, and we can make a motion to open the floor since the applicant is here.
Makes a motion to open the floor.
Second.
Seconded by Alder Gerlach. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The floor is open for any comments.
Thank you. Is there someone who would like to speak who is on Zoom? If so, please unmute yourself and state your name and address for the. No.
This would be the opportunity for any members of the public to speak. Would you like to? Any general comments about the project or, oh, good. Yeah, a presentation is not. Director Kiewis?
I can't find her either.
She's been muted. A presentation is
you.
not necessary. We're just allowing you the opportunity to speak if you'd like to.
We just think that this project will be
You can.
to the Green Bay economy. And
Who?
I think it'll be a hotel that will stand on its own, and it's not just a football hotel, it's Green Bay sort of.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's neat.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, seeing no other comments, motion to close the floor. Motion to close the floor made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Stevens. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The floor is closed. We have a motion to approve and a second. Alder Weary?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This would be for Director Steck-Schulte, and this looks like, an amazing, excellent project. What's the timeline? Is this going to be done? By what time?
I believe, Alder, their intention is to get started as quickly as possible. I believe their financing has been approved, so I think they will be starting here really on the site really right after the first of the year. So I think they would like to have the project completed, I believe, by 2023. So.
Okay, great. I hope this is a catalyst. We have a lot of land back behind there that I hope this spurs development of that area. So, thanks.
Absolutely.
Good project.
Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and that item has been approved. Thanks so much for as Alder Weary said, a fantastic project. I think it really will be catalytic for the area, pulling development, hopefully from Ashwaubenon down into Green Bay and beyond. So much appreciated, and thanks for being here tonight. On to report of the Redevelopment Authority.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Dorf. Any items here to be handled separately? Hearing none.
Mayor,
Alder Johnson?
it's that broken record. I need to abstain from item 3 and 5.
Alder Johnson would like to abstain from items 3 and 5. But hearing no items to be held separately, all in favor of approving that report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The report has been approved. Improvement in services.
Second.
Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Stoyer. Any items here to be handled separately? Hearing none, all in favor of approving that report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The report has been approved. Protection and policy. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Stevens. Items here to be handled separately. Hearing none, all in favor of approving that report, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Items have been approved. The report has been approved. On to report of the Protection and Policy Committee granting operator licenses. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Stoyer. Any names to be handled separately or abstentions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That report has been approved. Park Committee. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Gerlach. Items here.
Just abstain on 1.
Alder Johnson abstaining on item 1 of the Park Committee agenda.
Excuse me, Mayor, Your Honor, can you just give me a moment?
Yes.
Thank you. And forgive me, you said that Alder Johnson was abstaining on item 1?
Yep, of the Park Committee agenda, correct.
Very much.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That report has been approved. Personnel. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Galvin. Any discussion here? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The report of the Personnel Committee has been approved. Traffic, Bicycle, and Pedestrian Commission. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Stevens. Items here to be handled separately? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That report has been approved. Sustainability?
Motion to approve.
We have motion to approve, but motion to approve by Alder Dorf, seconded by Alder Scannell, and Alder Scannell for comments.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the action is here. I mean, but at the commission, this was held. So, I don't know, it doesn't really read that way. I'm not exactly sure what we're approving or just, so to amend it to that,
You like to make it clear that this item is being held?
held, yeah,
Yeah, that works.
yeah.
So you make the motion?
I make the motion, amend,
Just make the motion to hold the item.
motion to hold the item. There we go.
Motion has been made to hold this item over to a future meeting of the Sustainability Commission, made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Dorf. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That item has been held over. Report of the Equal Rights Commission.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder LaFave. Any discussion here? Seeing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That report has been approved. Receive and place on file.
Motion to receive and place on, do we need to suspend the rules for, do those all at once, or motion to receive and place on file? Sorry.
Motion has been made to receive and place on file by Alder Scannell. That was seconded by Alder Galvin, and that's to receive and place on file the municipal court report for October, building report for November, and municipal court report for November 2021. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and those reports have been received and placed on file. On to resolutions.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Yeah, just a quick question on which resolutions we'd like to handle separately. 8. Is that yep, we have that. Any others to be handled separately?
Abstain on number 2.
Alder Johnson would like to abstain on item 2 under resolutions.
I'll abstain on number 5, Mayor.
Alder Brunette would like to abstain on resolution 5. So we'll be handling item 8 separately. Now I'll entertain your motion.
Motion to suspend the rules on all but 8.
Motion has been made by Alder Scannell to take up these resolutions with one roll call vote with the exception of item 8. Seconded by Alder Gerlach. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Motion to hold, wait a minute.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve those resolutions with the exception of item 8. That was made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Galvin. We will use the board.
Thank you, Alders. You may vote. Thank you. And here's your displayed vote.
All right, and those resolutions were approved unanimously. Item 8, Alder Dorf.
I would just like to move to hold it. I'm not sure if I need a date certain.
No, I believe not. I think holding it is sufficient.
Okay.
Alder Dorf makes a motion to hold, seconded by Alder Scannell. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
No.
The ayes have it, and that item has been held over. On to ordinances first reading.
Second.
Motion to suspend the rules, take up these items with one roll call vote was made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Dorf. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Rules have been suspended. Motion to advance made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Weary. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Those items have been advanced to a second and final reading. Petitions and communications.
I have one.
Alder Dorf. Uh-oh, you're on Randy's list now.
Oh, I tried. However, so my communication deals with the Afghan refugee population that's recently come to Green Bay. And what I'm going to ask is to protection policy, to ask that protection policy discuss drafting a resolution of support from City Council for our Afghan refugees and determine if there are additional ways we can support our new population as a City Council. I think that would be appropriate to go to protection policy.
Thank you, Alder. That is noted. Any other petitions or communications?
I have one.
Yep, Alder Brunette.
Finance Committee to create a resolution to allocate unspent revenue from the 2021 Cooperative Governance Agreement with the Oneida Nation to pay down city debt or towards hiring a civilian crime prevention specialist with the Green Bay Police Department for 2022.
Thanks, Alder. Any others? Alder Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. This one goes to protection and policy. For consideration, possible action on the creation of a gun violence task force to address all reasons related to the recent surge in gunshots fired.
Thanks, Alder. Any others? None. I'll entertain a motion. Motion made begrudgingly by Alder Scannell. Seconded by Alder Dorf. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Those items have been referred. Adjournment. Motion to adjourn made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Dorf. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We're adjourned. Thanks.